Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, counter-spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve.
Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into our time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
I get so many requests for the original radio Gunsmoke. We have people in Canada even that love Gunsmoke, in addition to a lot of people across the U.S. So that's what we're going to have this hour on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. An episode of Gunsmoke starring William Conrad, Murder Warrant. This was originally broadcast April 24th, 1954.
Around Dodge City and in the territory on West, there's just one way to handle the killers and the spoilers, and that's with a U.S. Marshal and the smell of Gunsmoke. Gunsmoke, starring William Conrad. The story of the violence that moved west with young America. The story of a man who moved with it. Matt Dillon, United States Marshal.
Mr. Dillon.
Yeah, what is it, Chester?
Doc wants you upstairs.
Well, I promised Mr. Green I'd be at the Dodge House in a few minutes, Chester. Tell Doc I'll drop along later, huh?
Young Lee Prentiss is up there. He got shot last night.
What? Shot?
Yes, sir. Happened out at his ranch. Doc thinks you ought to talk to him.
All right, let's go. I wouldn't have thought Lee Prentiss had an enemy in the world.
No, sir. He's about the nicest young fellow that's settled around here in a long time.
Who brought him into town, Chester?
Nobody didn't. He rode in alone.
Oh.
Doc don't know how he managed it. Oh, hello, Matt.
Doc? Well, I hear you took a bullet, Lee.
It's not bad, Marshal. Doc's got me all fixed up now.
Oh, yeah, sure, but you're going to stay right here with me and take it easy for a few days, Lee.
I'd be putting you out, Doc.
Oh, yes, of course, it'll be a nuisance, but I'll manage somehow.
How did it happen, Lee? Did you get in a fight?
I didn't even see him, Marshal. It was still dark this morning, and I was going out after my horses. And then a bullet knocked me down. That's all I know. I did an awful lot of shooting the next few minutes, and whoever it was run off.
Yeah. Would it be any particular man, Lee?
I'd tell you if I knew, Marshal. I don't want any trouble.
All right, I believe you.
Oh, Matt, it's a downright shame when a young fella like Lee comes to Dodge and in 1 year makes as many friends as he has and then gets shot down by some murderer. Now, you got to find out who did that.
I don't have much to go on, Doc. In fact, I don't have anything.
Well, I don't care. You got to do something. Now,
like what?
Well, what do you mean? I'm not a lawman. How do I know?
Well, there's one thing, Doc, and you too, Chester.
What, Mr. Dillon?
Don't say anything about where Lee is. Whoever did this is probably still around.
Well, you mean he might come up here and try to finish him off?
He might.
Chester, you go fetch me one of those shotguns you keep downstairs.
Sure, Doc.
Okay, Doc, but don't get trigger happy, huh?
I know what I'm doing.
Doc, Marshal, I'm sure sorry for all the trouble I'm causing.
It's no trouble, Lee.
Oh, it's no trouble, he said. Oh, all right, Matt. You go find him something to eat later this afternoon and bring it up here. A nice, say, roast chicken. That'd be just about right.
Sure, Doc. I'll be glad to.
Gee, I'd...
See you later, Lee. Come on, Chester.
I'm glad I ran into you, Matt. It was a good supper.
It was all my pleasure, Kitty.
Matt,
Yeah, what?
have you got time to sit here and watch the crowd for a while? I don't have to be back at work just yet.
Sure, Kitty. Hey, you sit there.
Oh, looks like Dodge is in for another big night tonight.
Yeah, I suppose.
Just think. There's hardly one of these cowboys that won't be broke before morning.
Well, they figure it's worth it.
3 months pay in one night? They're crazy, all of them.
Well, what would you happen to do with their money, Kitty?
Well, I don't know. Most anything's better than throwing it away.
Well, most of these men have waited a long time for a night or two in Dodge. They don't care what it costs.
There's only one cowboy I ever knew who showed any sense.
Oh? That must be quite a fella for you to say that, Kitty.
Well, you know who I mean, Matt. Young Lee Prentiss.
Oh. Oh, sure.
Remember last year how he drifted into town and made a killing at Faro and then swore off gambling?
Yeah, he stayed with it, too. I never heard of his going near a game since.
Oh, he hasn't. Took his money and put it in that little ranch of his. You gotta admire the boy.
Yeah, Lee's all right.
He's sure a lot different from the rest of these saddle bums. I wonder where he's been lately. He usually comes to town every day or so.
Well, Kitty, I'll tell you, Lee's up at Doc's.
At Doc's? Then he is in town.
Oh, he's been there for a couple of days.
Well, what's the matter? Is he sick or something?
No, he's not sick.
Oh, wait a minute, Matt. Hey, mister. Yeah, you. Come here.
What do you want?
I'm Kitty, remember?
Yeah, I remember.
Oh, you don't act like it. You must have been drunker than I thought.
I'm in a hurry, Kitty.
Well, go on then. I won't tell you.
Tell me what?
You remember asking me last night if I know anything about Lee Prentiss?
Did I?
You really were drunk. But if you're still interested, Marshal Dillon here just told me he's up at Doc Adams.
Oh. Well, I don't need him now. Bye.
Oh, just a minute, mister. You're a stranger in Dodge, huh?
I'll talk to you later, Marshal. Not now.
What do you mean, later?
After I've done what I come here for.
What's your name, mister?
Jake Harbin.
You look like a gunman to me. Why are you looking for Lee Prentiss?
All right, Marshal, if you're so nosy, I'll tell you. I'm going to kill him.
No, you're not.
You can't stop me.
Jake, Harbin, huh?
What'd you hit him for, Matt? What's this all about?
I don't know, Kitty. But maybe I'll find out when he comes to. In jail.
Well, you're here early this morning, Mr. Dillon.
Go bring Jake Harbin in here, Chester, will you? I want to talk to him.
Yes, sir. He's been saying he wants to talk to you, too. He wouldn't tell me nothing. Don't stick my nose into something that don't concern me, is all he'd say, no matter what I ask. Marshal's here, Harbin.
Well, it's about time.
Here he is, Mr. Dillon.
Come over here, Harbin.
You'd have saved yourself a lot of trouble if you'd have stayed around here last night, Marshal. What do you mean by cold cocking a man throwing him in jail?
Where are you from, Harbin?
Baker City.
Down on the Canadian River?
Yeah. Anybody goes to jail in Baker City, they search him first.
Oh, what do you mean?
If you'd have searched me last night, you'd have found this.
What is it?
Read it. And afterwards, you can apologize to me.
What is it, Mr. Dillon?
It's a warrant, Chester.
And that also says I'm a legal deputy. You can telegraph Ben Goddard for proof if you want.
Who's Ben Goddard?
He's the sheriff at Baker City. That's all legal, Marshal.
Yeah, but who's the warrant for, Mr. Dillon?
Lee Prentiss, Chester. For murder.
They want him dead or alive.
We will return for the second act of Gunsmoke in just a moment. But first,
April 24th, 1954, Gunsmoke on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
Hi, this is Kyle Horvath with the White Pine County Tourism and Recreation Board. If you want to get away from the big cities and get back to nature this summer, give us a call at 775-289-3720 or visit us online at elinevada.net. There's so much to do and see I can't mention it in 30 seconds, but check out our website and you'll see what Nevada is really all about. elinevada.net or follow us on Facebook or Instagram. Give us a call at 775-289-3720 or visit us online at elinevada.net.
Let's see, if something costs less, but people are happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that's MediShare. Maybe you've heard switching to MediShare to pay for healthcare can save the typical family $500 a month, and that's huge, but it's also true that people are way more satisfied after making the switch, too. The customer satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. MediShare works. It's been around for more than a quarter century, and members have shared more than $3 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network. So, yeah, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price within 2 minutes. A very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. 833-34-BIBLE. That's 833-34-BIBLE. 833-34-BIBLE.
Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, more of Gunsmoke, Murder Warrant, from April 24th, 1954.
Chester.
Yes, sir?
Go down and send a telegram to the sheriff of Baker City. Now, what'd you say his name is, Harbin?
Ben Goddard.
All right. Ask Ben Goddard to verify this warrant for Lee Prentiss. And also ask him if Jake Harbin here is a legal deputy.
You'll find out, Marshal.
I expect we will, Harbin. Get going, Chester.
Yes, sir. I'll hurry.
This warrant says Lee Prentiss is wanted for murder, Harbin. That's kind of hard to believe, knowing Lee.
Well, then you don't know him very well, Marshal. Because he is a murderer, all right. And he'd have been caught a long time ago if they'd have found out where he was hiding.
He hasn't been hiding. Lee's lived here for nearly a year. Right out in the open.
And so? He's all through now.
Maybe, if this is true. I want to tell you one thing, Harbin.
You tell me what?
Nobody, whether he's a deputy or not, is going to come to Dodge and kill a man.
Dead or alive, Marshal, you read the warrant.
I don't care what it says.
You wouldn't like it said that you're protecting a murderer, would you, Marshal?
I don't know that he is a murderer yet. But you came pretty close to being one.
I was going to explain it to you after I killed him. I didn't want no interference.
Well, you got it now. What kind of law do they have in Baker City? Don't they ever give men a trial down there?
Sure they do.
And why didn't you come here and arrest Lee and take him back with you? Are they afraid to put him on trial?
Not hardly, Marshal.
That they hired a killer like you to come up here and shoot him, huh?
Look, it's all legal.
In Baker City, maybe it is, but not in Dodge.
Well, the law's the same everywhere.
It should be, Harbin. But sometimes it depends on who's representing the law.
Yeah. I don't aim to argue with you.
Now, look, let's get one thing straight. You're not going to shoot Lee Prentiss no matter what happens. I'll kill you myself if you try it.
Okay. Okay, Marshal. Why don't you talk to him, being as you are such good friends? Ask him how he'd like to stand trial.
I will, Harbin. But you stay away from him. You hear?
Why, sure, Marshal. I'm just trying to do my duty.
Well, come in, yeah. Oh, hello, man.
Hello, Marshal.
How you feeling, Lee?
Fine. Doc says I can leave anytime.
As long as he doesn't try to do any hard work for another week or so.
I'll take it easy, Doc.
You better.
Lee, did you ever hear of a man called Jake Harbin?
Harbin?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard of him.
Well, he's the man who tried to kill you.
What? How do you know?
He's here as a deputy with a warrant for you. Dead or alive. The warrant's signed by the sheriff of Baker City.
Oh. What's the warrant for, Marshal?
Murder? But it didn't say who.
No. It didn't have to. Not if Ben Goddard signed it. It's for the murder of Jim Turner, Marshal.
Oh? How did you do it, Lee?
I killed him. He tried to shoot me in the back and missed.
Well, that doesn't exactly make it murder, does it?
His old man owns Baker City, Doc, and he owns the sheriff and Jake Harbin along with it. That makes it murder.
Oh, I see.
Is that why you left Baker City, Lee?
They'd have killed me if I hadn't.
Oh, what if you go back there and stand trial?
Old man Turner'd run that trial, Marshal. I'd hang sure. No, I won't go back. I'll die here first.
Well, I don't blame him, Matt. Why, it'd be legal murder, that's what.
It isn't legal to fix a trial and hang an innocent man, Doc.
That's what'd happen, though.
You're not thinking of turning him over to this so-called deputy, are you?
Look, Lee, I believe you, and I trust you.
Thanks, Marshal.
Now, tell me something. Do you trust me?
Well, sure do. Of course. Why?
Well, you may not like what I'm going to do.
What, Marshal?
I'm putting you under arrest, Lee, right now.
Under arrest? What for?
No, I don't know. Horse thieving?
Horse thieving?
Oh, Matt.
It'll do. So you're my prisoner now, Lee. My prisoner. Now, come on, let's go to jail.
I don't know. I like being a horse thief, Marshal.
Well, it beats being a murderer, Lee. And besides, I kind of doubt that we'll hang you for it.
Marshal.
What?
Look, there's Jake Harbin.
Yeah, I see him.
I'd feel safer if you gave me my gun back.
Prisoners can't carry guns, Lee. It wouldn't look right.
Lee Prentiss! Well, Lee, Marshal talked you to coming back to Baker City and standing trial?
Still on old man Turner's payroll, ain't you, Jake?
I don't take no back talk from no murderer.
Why'd you try to ambush me the other morning, Jake? Afraid to face me?
I got a warrant for you, dead or alive. Why should I take any chances? Nobody cares how you die.
I care, Harbin.
But you can't stand in the way of a legal warrant, Marshal. And you'll see as soon as you get that telegram from the sheriff.
It's too late, Harbin.
What's too late?
I just arrested Lee myself. He's my prisoner now.
You what?
And as long as he's my prisoner, nobody touches him, warrant or no.
Oh, you're being tricky, Marshal. What'd you arrest him for? He ain't done nothing.
Might be hard to prove, but anyway, I'm holding him for horse thieving. Now get out of the way. I'm taking him to jail.
You're forgetting I can kill him anytime I want for free. Like right now, maybe.
Doc Lee. Are you hit, Lee?
No. But it was mighty close, Marshal.
I didn't think he'd try it.
You got him just in time. The next shot, he'd have killed me.
They sure don't care much how they do things where you come from, do they, Lee?
There's going to be trouble now, Marshal. Real trouble.
It seemed only fair to let the sheriff of Baker City know that his deputy had been killed. So I sent him another telegram, and I soon got a reply. Ben Goddard himself was coming to Dodge. The day he was due to arrive, I sent Chester to the stage while Lee Prentiss and I waited in the lobby of the Dodge House, along with a couple of friends who thought it might be interesting to see how Sheriff Goddard was going to handle the situation. The stage pulled in about noon, and a few minutes later, Chester and the sheriff walked into the hotel lobby where we were standing.
Here he is, Mr. Dillon.
Hello, Sheriff.
You're Marshal Dillon.
And this is Mr. Green. He owns the Dodge House.
How are you, Sheriff?
And Mr. Jonas, one of our leading businessmen.
Good day, Sheriff. Gentlemen, nice to know you.
And you know Lee Prentiss.
I sure do.
You're going to a lot of trouble, Goddard. You and old man Turner.
It's worth it. Getting you back where you belong. You'll hang sure now.
Lee didn't kill Jake Harbin, Sheriff.
No?
I did.
What?
He tried to shoot Lee in the back.
What difference it makes? He's wanted, dead or alive. What are you interfering in this for, Marshal? You got no respect for the law?
Not for your kind of law.
Sounds like a showdown a-comin' here. April 24th, 1954, Gunsmoke on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. We'll also have another episode of yours truly, Johnny Dollar, coming up. That'll be straight ahead here, following these important words when Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox continues.
No offense, but are you a little fat when you look in the mirror? How would you like to learn the secrets to lose 3 to 5 pounds a week easily without joining the gym or going through any crazy diets? It's called Body Sculpt by Med Diet. For the last 2 decades, we've been helping people just like you that have pounds they want to shed. We've helped millions of people lose thousands and thousands of pounds over the years. And now it's your turn. Learn the secrets of how to lose weight with one simple phone call. You'll see an amazing difference in a matter of days. Don't believe us? We'll offer you a money-back guarantee. If you're ready to start losing weight right now, call right now to learn more about your risk-free order to Body Sculpt.
Call for your risk-free offer. 800-738-5332. 800-738-5332. 800-738-5332. That's 800-738-5332.
Are you in bad pain? You know what I mean. Your knees hurt. Your shoulder hurts. Your elbow and back are constantly killing you. And I'm sure you've tried every pain pill or cream available at the drugstore. Am I right? Well, here's something you haven't tried. Pain Magic. Pain Magic is not available at any drugstore. The only place you can get it is by calling the special toll-free number I'm about to give you.
And to make things even better, call right now and find out about our buy one, get one free offer. We're so confident it'll work for you that we offer a free bottle with your purchase. No prescription required.
Call now to learn how you can get Pain Magic and get rid of your pain. Remember, your results may vary.
800-492-8164. 800-492-8164. 800-492-8164. That's 800-492-8164.
Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, the conclusion of Gunsmoke, Murder Warrant, April 24th, 1954.
Anyway, Lee's wanted in Dodge, and he's staying here.
What about my warrant? You're claiming it ain't legal?
You can't arrest a man that I've got under arrest.
You're protecting him, ain't you? What'd you arrest him for?
Stealing horses.
I don't believe it.
I'm bringing the charges, Sheriff. It was my horses he stole.
Well, I thought you owned this hotel, Green. What are you doing with horses?
Well, I also own a little ranch outside of town. I raise horses.
Maybe, but I know you're lying about Lee.
Am I?
Of course you are. Marshal Dillon, you ain't very smart.
No?
You'll have to bring Lee to trial, won't you?
Of course.
You think Green here is going to swear to that story under oath?
Well, you may be right, Sheriff. I might have to change my mind once I get on the stand. It might be I couldn't swear to it.
I didn't think so. That trial won't last long, and when it's over, I'll take Lee back to Baker City.
Marshal Dillon.
Yes, Mr. Jonas. What is it?
There's something I haven't mentioned.
Oh?
I kind of figured I'd wait till Lee's trial was over before I did.
Well, go ahead, Mr. Jonas.
Yeah. Well, the other day, Lee came into my store, and I went out back to fetch him a sack of grain.
Is that so?
And he didn't know I was watching, but I was. And I saw him take a handful of money out of my cash box.
Oh, now, wait a minute.
Mr. Jonas, are you charging Lee with robbery?
No, not yet, Marshal. I'll wait and see if he gets off for horse stealing first.
Well, Lee, looks like you're in for nothing but trials and rearrests and more trials. Yeah, it could go on for a long, long time.
As long as his friends hold out, Marshal, and Lee's got quite a few of them in Dodge.
Why, you're a pack of crooks cheating the law. That's what you are. Including you, Marshal.
My prisoner, Sheriff.
I won't stand for it, I tell you.
Oh, what are you going to do about it?
Wait till I tell old man Turner about this.
You won't dare tell him, Goddard. You're licked and you know it. Turner would have you run out of town if you're fool enough to go back.
Marshal, I got to take Lee.
It's Lee's life or your job, huh? All right, Sheriff, take him. But you'll have to kill me first. Or there's a train east in about an hour. So make up your mind, Sheriff.
Want me to follow him, Mr. Dillon?
No, Chester, he'll leave.
Marshal, gentlemen, I wish I knew how to tell you.
Lee.
Yes, Marshal?
Go on home. But remember, you're still under arrest. And you're going to stay that way till old man Turner's in his grave.
Gunsmoke, under the direction of Norman Macdonnell, stars William Conrad as Matt Dillon, U.S. Marshal. Tonight's story was specially written for Gunsmoke by John Meston, with music composed and conducted by Rex Corey. Featured in the cast were Sam Edwards, Lawrence Dobkin, John Daner, Joe Duval, and James Nusser. Parley Bear is Chester, Howard McNear is Doc, and Georgia Ellis is Kitty. Join us again next week as Matt Dillon, U.S. Marshal, fights to bring law and order out of the wild violence of the West in Gunsmoke.
April 24th, 1954, Gunsmoke on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
It's a big, bold story set in the heartland of America, along the edge of Lonely Mountain. I am open for business. And so Big William Gorgon, played by handsome Michael James, fiercely set down his Midwest roots.
Oh, darling, we're going to sell bathrobes and raise chickens.
Set his adoring wife, Wilhelmina, portrayed by beautiful Glenda Olsen.
Oh, I love our store, Will.
But they hadn't counted on Big Ralph's bathrobes and cattle store coming to town.
Oh, Will, what will we do, Will?
Will had a plan, a way of facing off against tough Big Ralph. We're going to change the face of America. We're going to advertise.
For what?
With print, broadcasting, and bus benches, we're going to tell people who we are and where we are.
What's a bus?
And so the story of how one man brought advertising to the heartland.
Oh, will it work?
It will. Well, my name ain't Will, Wilhelmina. We got to advertise or we'll die. And so the greatest marketing story of all time is here. Advertise or die, dopey.
Put your message on this national advertising platform. Email classicradiotheater@gmail.com. classicradiotheater@gmail.com. Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, Part 2 of the 5-part Yours Truly Johnny Dollar story, The Lonely Hearts Matter. This episode originally broadcast April 24th, 1956.
From Hollywood, it's time now for
Johnny Dollar.
This is Max Lancer, Mr. Dollar, DA's office.
Oh?
The coroner tells me you're cutting yourself in on this Jonathan Wells thing.
I'm representing the insurance company. Wells carried a $50,000 policy payable to his widow.
Yeah, so I hear.
What about the autopsy? Any results?
Not yet. The coroner's still working on it. I understand it was Wells' daughter who called you fellas in on this case.
Yes, on the advice of her family doctor.
I know, I talked to him. Only his version puts a different slant on things.
What do you mean?
Well, he thought she was suffering from temporary hysteria. He was only trying to calm her. He didn't think she'd really fly back to Hartford and stir up a mess like this.
I see.
Her father's sudden death must have been quite a shock to her. It may have caused her to imagine things.
Things like murder?
Maybe. It's possible anyway. What do you think?
I think I'll wait for the results of that autopsy, Mr. Lancer. I'll keep in touch.
Tonight and every weekday night, Bob Bailey in the transcribed adventures of the man with the action-packed expense account, America's fabulous freelance insurance investigator.
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar. From Special Investigator Johnny Dollar to the Home Office, Northwestern Surety Company, Hartford, Connecticut. Assignment, The Lonely Hearts Matter. Location, Chicago, Illinois. Expense account continued. Item 6, $2.10 for a late lunch at my hotel. I finished it, went up to my room, and started trying to fit the few facts I had into some kind of a pattern that made sense. Max Lancer at the DA's office might be right. Maybe it was nothing more than just hysterical suspicion. And she'd admitted herself that she was hurt and jealous when he married Mabel Burke. Sudden death could still be natural death. And yet, all I could do at the moment was wait for the results of that autopsy. Yeah?
Mr. Dollar?
Who is it?
It's me, Norma Wells.
Oh, all right. Just a minute. Come in, Miss Wells.
Thank you.
What's wrong?
I'm scared.
Of what?
I don't know exactly.
Oh? Well, here. Run over here and sit down.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Now, what do you mean you don't know exactly?
Could I be losing my mind, Mr. Dollar?
If you were, you'd be the last one to think so. Now, tell me what's happened.
Well, I went to the coroner's office to sign the authorization for the autopsy, and then went back to my apartment. And a little while later, the phone rang, and when I answered it, there was nobody on the line.
A wrong number, maybe.
No. I mean, there was somebody on the line, but they didn't say anything. I kept saying hello, and then there was a click, and the line went dead.
And that's all that happened?
No. A short time afterward, I heard footsteps out in the hall. They stopped at my door, and I kept waiting for someone to ring the bell. When they didn't, I finally got up enough courage to open the door. There was nobody there.
I see.
A few minutes after that, the phone rang again. The same thing as before. I couldn't stay there any longer. I ran out and got a taxi and came here.
Well, who do you think might be doing a thing like that, Miss Wells?
I don't know, but somebody is. I'm not just imagining things.
Max Lancer, the DA's investigator, seems to think you might be.
I know. He talked to me at the coroner's office. That's why I came to you, Mr. Dollar. You've got to help me, please.
Be glad to, but how?
Oh, there must be something you can do.
Yeah. I can wait for that autopsy report. And at the moment, that's about all I can do. Without some definite evidence of a crime, something stronger than mere suspicion, we don't have a leg to stand on.
But suppose the report doesn't show anything.
Well, then I wipe the egg off my face and go back to Hartford.
But look, maybe she was clever enough to kill my father in some way that wouldn't show up in an autopsy.
Such as?
I don't know. But I do know, as sure as I'm sitting here, that she married him and got him to take out that insurance policy with the full intention of murdering him.
Well, such things have been known, all right. Somebody using a correspondence club to contact wealthy pigeons.
Did you know that your stepmother owns that Lonely Hearts Club?
Owns it?
That's what the girl in charge told me. A Fanny Tetler. Do you know her?
No, I've never heard of her. And neither Mabel nor my father ever mentioned that she owned the place.
She apparently has somebody running it for her. A man, I think. Any idea who he might be?
No.
He slipped out before I got a chance to see him. Smoked cigars. He left one burning in the ashtray.
Wait. Maybe it's Burton.
Burton?
Burton Creeley, her nephew. He smokes cigars.
Well, that's the first I've heard of him.
Oh, he's detestable. He moved in on us right after Mabel and my father were married. He's the main reason why I left the house. I couldn't stand him. He was always after me, bothering me.
Is he still living there?
I guess so.
Was he in the house the night your father died?
Yes. At least he was when I got there. That was an hour afterward, as I told you.
Does he have a job, work anywhere?
I don't think he's ever worked. He lives off of her.
Uh-huh. He and your father get along all right?
Oh, my father could get along with anyone. He always managed to see the best in people. And then Burton was careful to act different around him.
I see.
I suppose you think that's some more of my imagination.
Well, frankly, Miss Wells, I don't know what to think.
If there was only some way to prove what I'm sure of.
Well, let's wait for that autopsy report. Meantime, I think I'll go out and talk to your stepmother.
What about me?
Stay right where you are. Don't go out of this room. When I get back, we'll pick up some things from your apartment, and you can check in here at this hotel for a few days. Expense account item 7, taxi to Lakeshore Drive and the beachfront residence of the late Jonathan Wells. I was beginning to feel more and more like a fool. It looked as though Max Lancer might be right. Apparently, a jealous, hysterical girl had lost her head and stirred up a nasty mess, all without one single fact to back up her suspicions. I had a hunch the autopsy report was going to show death from natural causes. For 2 cents, I'd have thrown the case over. In fact, I didn't even see where I had a case.
Good afternoon, young man. How are you?
How do you do? Are you Mrs. Wells?
Yes, that's right. Is there something I can do for you?
My name is Dollar, Johnny Dollar. I'm representing the company that holds the insurance policy on your late husband's life.
Oh, well, you must be mistaken. Mr. Morningby represents that company, young man. Mr. Matthew R. Morningby.
Mr. Morningby is the local agent. I'm from the home office in Hartford, Connecticut.
Oh, I see.
Yes, I have my credentials right here if you'd like to see.
Oh, no, that isn't necessary. I always judge people by their faces. And you have an honest face, Mr. Dollar.
Thank you. I wonder if I could ask you a few questions, Mrs. Wells.
Well, I suppose so.
I know this must be painful for you, and I'll try to be as brief as possible.
Oh, well, now, don't you worry about me. I'm all right. Of course, I miss Jonathan and all that. He was a terribly nice man, terribly. But I think of death as just being a doorway to a greater and more glorious life.
Well, that's one way of looking at it.
You just come right in, young man, and ask all the questions you're a mind to.
Thank you.
You come right in here, and we'll sit down and have a nice chat.
Oh, this is a very attractive house, Mrs. Wells.
Oh, yes, I think so, too. Jonathan built it years ago. He and his first wife lived here, you know. Of course, I've changed the drapes and things. Just some of the little things sit right down there now.
Thank you.
And his daughter, too. She lived here the first month we were married. Then she moved into town. Oh, a strange little thing, really. Sort of nervous and irritable.
I've met her, Mrs. Wells.
Oh, well, then you know what she's like. Oh, it's too bad, too. Would you like some tea and cookies, Mr. Dollar?
No, thanks.
That's one thing Jonathan wouldn't miss for the world. His tea and cookies at 4 o'clock every afternoon. Every afternoon.
Oh?
The house just doesn't seem the same without him.
No, I imagine it doesn't.
That's how I won his heart, you know. With my cookies and cakes.
Oh?
Oh, he really did adore them. And it was such a pleasure baking things for a person who appreciated them so much.
Yes.
It makes you feel lonesome and lost not having anybody to cook for. Do you ever feel lonesome, Mr. Dollar?
Well, I guess everybody does at times.
Why, at the time I met Jonathan, I was feeling so lonesome I could just cry. Mr. Burke had died 2 years before.
Mr. Burke?
Yes, he was my husband before Jonathan. That was in St. Louis, of course.
I see.
He was a fine man, too. Walter Mabley Burke. Tall and handsome and impressive looking, just like his name sounds, and a perfect picture of health, right up to the day he died.
His death was sudden, unexpected?
Oh, yes. A complete surprise. Acute indigestion, the doctor called it. Of course, I don't think he was quite as thoughtful as Jonathan. Jonathan was always so considerate, and he was a... Oh, my gracious, here I go, just rambling on and on. You didn't come here to listen to my silly little affairs.
No, they're very interesting.
Well, I've always tried to keep busy and keep my mind occupied. That's why I started in business.
The Lonely Hearts Club.
Oh, well, you've heard about it. Well, I admit I felt kind of foolish at first about starting it. I mean, you know how people josh about those kinds of clubs. It was Burton's idea, really. He's my nephew, you know. Oh, dear, I wish he were here this afternoon so you could meet him.
So do I.
He's such a nice boy. He thought I'd do real well at that kind of business, and he was right, too. Absolutely right. Oh, not money, you understand, but it was loads of fun meeting all those nice people, especially men, yes.
I see.
That's how I met Jonathan.
So I was told.
That's the way it happened. He wrote into the club, and I sent him my picture, and that's what started it. I remember when Burton showed me the letter, he said, Aunt Mabel, this one sounds like your kind of man. And he certainly was, too.
Does Burton help you with the club?
Oh, well, he runs it, really. He's such a sweet boy, and he works so hard. I just don't know what I'd do without Burton. I don't know what I'd do.
Yes, I imagine he's a great comfort to
Oh,
you.
you have no idea, Mr. Darling.
I suppose not. Well, I guess I'd better run along, Mrs. Wells.
It's been such a pleasure talking with you. It seems like young folks nowadays don't often have the gift for conversation the way they did in my time.
Well, things move faster today.
Well, I certainly hope that company of yours moves fast, young man.
Well-
I have to start house hunting, you know. The estate and everything goes to Jonathan's daughter, and all I have is the insurance.
Yes.
Oh, it's such a bother, Mr. Dollar. The funeral and moving and all the details. Seems like I just have the worst luck with my husbands.
I walked out of there groggy, my head spinning. No wonder Norma Wells was nervous and hysterical. I felt that way myself after only a few minutes of it. And I still had no case, not one piece of evidence. I'd had a pleasant chat with a sweet old lady, a little on the dotty side maybe, but that was all. Dead end. Max Lancer from the DA's office was waiting for me in the hotel lobby.
You'll notice I'm holding my hat in my hand, Mr. Dallin.
How come?
It's a symbol of humility. You were right all along. According to the coroner's report, Jonathan Wells died from a dose of ground glass. So it's murder after all.
Then in that case, do something for me, will you?
From now on, I'm your man.
Contact the authorities in St. Louis and have them check into a death that happened there about 2.5 years ago. A man named Walter Maberly Burke.
Who's he?
Mrs. Wells was married to him at the time.
Uh-oh. Another murder?
No, just a matter of bad luck. She told me so herself.
Now, here's our star to tell you about tomorrow's intriguing episode of this week's story.
Tomorrow, a strange attack, a scared girl, a hunt in the dark, and 13 knots make a noose. Join us, won't you? Yours truly, Johnny Dollar.
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar, starring Bob Bailey, is transcribed in Hollywood. Written by Les Crutchfield, it is produced and directed by Jack Johnstone. Be sure to join us tomorrow night, same time and station, for the next exciting episode of Yours truly, Johnny Dollar. Roy Rowan speaking.
April 24th, 1956, yours truly, Johnny Dollar on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Please thank this radio station and support their advertisers. It's their kindness and courtesy that allows us to be with you each and every time we roll around here on your favorite station. Also, if you miss a day, you do not have to miss a single show. Our shows are available anywhere podcasts are served, including iHeartRadio, Spotify, Spreaker, TuneIn, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon, or even Facebook. Just search for Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. If you want to make it simple, go to my webpage, classicradio.stream. There you can stream the shows on demand, learn more about classic radio collecting, find all our social media links, and you can contact me there at classicradio.stream. Thanks for tuning in. Tell all your friends the great radio shows are right here at this spot on the dial. Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on your favorite radio station.